So in this video, we are going to learn how to create staff in Zoho Booking on Google Form submission. Now suppose guys you are using Zoho Booking to get all the meetings and appointment related updates and bookings from your clients and customers. And on a regular basis, you need to keep on adding new staffs in your Zoho Booking account. For that, you have created a Google Form. Now let me tell you guys, if you're using Google Form to get the details of the new members to whom you want to add as a staff, you can actually automate this process of adding them into Zoho Booking. Using this simple automation, whenever a new Google Form submission will be received with the details of the user who is submitting the form, automatically with the same details, we are going to add the person who is submitting the form as staff in our Zoho Bookings account. Now, if you want to know how you can set up this automation, for that, you just have to come with me to my screen.
So as you can see, here we are on Pabbly Connect's dashboard. Now to reach this dashboard, you will get a free sign-up link of Pabbly Connect in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can create your free Pabbly Connect account in just 2 minutes. And after reaching to this dashboard, just click on Create Workflow and give this workflow a name. For example, I would like to name my workflow as Google Forms to Zoho Booking. Google Forms to Zoho Bookings, and then just click on Create. Now you can see that our workflow is open over here, and in this workflow we have 2 different windows. First one is the trigger window and second one is the action window. So triggers and actions are basically those 2 concepts, those 2 principles on which this whole automation works on, where the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. So let's start with our trigger window. Now the idea here is we have created a form using Google Forms, and in this form we are asking the details of the user to whom we want to add as a staff member in our Zoho Bookings account. So what we have to do, we have to first connect this Google Form with Pabbly Connect in the trigger window, so that every time we receive a new form submission, a new response in this Google Form, the details of that form submission, the form responses will be captured inside Pabbly Connect. And then this automation workflow will trigger at that point. After that, using this automation, we are going to send those form responses to Zoho Bookings so that using these details entered by the user, we can add that user as a staff in Zoho Bookings. So let's see how it is done. Starting from our trigger window in Choose App, search for Google Forms. Just select it. After selecting Google Forms in Trigger Event from the drop-down, select the trigger event as New Response Received. After selecting a trigger event, Pabbly Connect gave us a webhook URL. And using this webhook URL, we are going to connect our Google Forms account with Pabbly Connect. So how you can use this webhook URL and connect it? We just have to follow the help text given below over here. The first point says Google Form responses are collected in Google Sheet. So follow the below step in order to get the new response. So we all know guys, the responses or the form submission data of a Google Form is stored into a Google Sheet. So what we are going to do, using this webhook URL, we are going to connect that Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect. And then whenever we are going to receive a new form response in Google Form, the data or the form submission responses from that Google Sheet will be sent to Pabbly Connect. So it's a very simple process. Just copy this webhook URL from here and then just go to the form using which we want to collect the data. From this particular form, we want to get the responses. Now here you can see we are in the questions tab of this form. We have to go to the responses tab and click on this link to sheets button. Then just create a new spreadsheet. Select this option of create a new spreadsheet and click on create. Now when we click on create, here you can see a new Google Sheet is open in a new tab. And here guys, you can see this will be the exact same Google Sheet, exact same spreadsheet in which all the responses from this form submission will be stored. So we are going to connect this Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect in the trigger window. What we have to do, we just have to go to extensions, add-ons and click on get add-ons. After clicking on get add-ons, we will reach to Google Workspace Marketplace. And here in search app, we have to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks, Pabbly, Pabbly Connect Webhooks. Here you can see that Pabbly Connect Webhooks, this add-on is already installed in my Google Sheets. You just have to install this same add-on into your own Google Sheets account, and after installing it, just refresh your Google Sheets once. Once we refresh our Google Sheets, once again we'll go to extensions, and this time you can see Pabbly Connect Webhooks. This add-on can be seen over here. Just hover on it and click on Initial Setup. After clicking on Initial Setup, this box will appear in front of us. And in this box, it is basically asking us three different things. First one is the selected sheet, the second thing is webhook URL, and the third thing is trigger column. Now here guys, what we have to do, in selected sheet, we have to select the sheet from which we want to send the data of a new row to Pabbly Connect. So in this Google spreadsheet, we have only one sheet named as form response 1. So because we want to send the data of a new row, of a new form submission from this particular sheet, that's why by default it has selected form response 1 as the selected sheet. Then it is asking us for the webhook URL. Now here in this field of webhook URL, we have to paste the exact same webhook URL which we have copied from Pabbly Connect. Just copy it from here and then paste it over here. And after pasting the webhook URL, it is asking us for the trigger column. Now here you must be thinking, what is this trigger column? So the trigger column is basically the last data entry column of a Google Sheet. For example, in the background you can see column G is going to be my trigger column because it is the last data entry column in which any of my data exists. After column G, in any of my column, none of my data does not exist. So I will be selecting column G as the trigger column. And then we are just going to click on this submit button over here. After clicking on submit, it is showing us setup configured successfully. So we will just close this window, and after closing it, once again we'll go to extensions, Pabbly Connect webhooks, and here you can see an option of send on event. We just have to select this option of send on event over here. By selecting send on event, we are telling this Google Sheet, we are telling this add-on that whenever the data of a new row will be added in a Google Sheet, like whenever we are going to receive a new form submission in Google Forms, automatically instantly send that data, that form responses to Pabbly Connect over here. And now guys, we have successfully connected this Google form with Pabbly Connect over here using this Google Sheet. Now, whenever we are going to receive a new form submission, a new response in this Google form, automatically the details of that form response will be captured inside Pabbly Connect. And here in our Pabbly Connect workflow, you can see the trigger window is showing us waiting for webhook response. This means Pabbly Connect is waiting to get some response, some details of a form submission from Google Forms. So let's do this. After making this connection, let's open this form in a preview mode and let's make a test form submission. For example, we are going to enter the details of a user. The name of the person is demo user. This is the name. This is the email address. After this, let's enter the mobile number as well. So let me just correct the email address. This is the email address. This is a test mobile number, a dummy mobile number of the user. The designation is, for example, manager, and the gender is, for example, male. The role is manager over here. And now we are going to click on this submit button. So as we click on submit, here you can see just now we have received a new response, a new form submission in this Google form. And because the details or the form submission data of this Google form will be stored in our Google Sheet, we will see in our Google Sheet a new row of data is added. And this is the exact same form submission. Now guys, we have connected this form. We have connected this Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect. And we will see because of that connection, this exact same form submission data, this exact same form response will also be captured inside Pabbly Connect. And yes, here in our trigger window, you can see that we have received some response. And in this response, you can see the details of the exact same form submission. Here you can see the same role which the user has selected. You can see the same name of the user which we have entered in the form submission. The same mobile number, gender, email address, and also the designation. So in this way, guys, you can see all of these details of the Google form submission is successfully captured inside Pabbly Connect. So the step 1 of setting up this automation is completed. Now after this, let's move to step 2. And in step 2, using these same form responses, we want to add this user as a staff in Zoho Bookings. For that, we will just scroll down and come to this action window over here. And here in Choose App, we are going to search for Zoho Bookings. Just select it. After selecting Zoho Bookings, an action event from the drop-down, select the action event as Add Staff over here. Then just click on Connect and select Add New Connection. Now here guys, we have to connect our Zoho Bookings account with Pabbly Connect. And to make this connection, we have to first select the domain of our Zoho account. So here in this drop down of domain, here you can see we have 4 different options: .com, zoho.com, zoho.eu, .in and .au. So what is the domain of your Zoho account in which you want to add the staff member? You have to select that domain over here. So here in my Zoho account, the domain of my Zoho account is zoho.in. So that is why here in this connection window from the drop down, I will be selecting India, that is .in over here. Then just click on this connect with Zoho Bookings button. Now because I have already logged into my Zoho account in my browser, Pabbly Connect will detect the same account, and here we just have to click on this accept button. And as we click on accept, we will see our Zoho Bookings account will get connected with Pabbly Connect. After making this connection, the first thing it asks us is the name. That what is the name of the new staff member which we want to add in Zoho Bookings. So we have received the name, email address and all the other details of the staff member from Google Forms. And one by one what we have to do, from this trigger window responses, one by one we have to map these responses of the form submission into their respective fields in this Zoho Bookings Actions tab. Like here in the field of name, we have to map the response of name which we have received from Google Forms. And guys, the process of mapping is very simple over here. Just click on this field and in the drop down, you can see a list of all the responses which we have received from Google Forms of a new form submission, of a new form response. So out of all of these responses, select the response of name and it will be mapped over here. So whatever name the user is going to enter while submitting the form, with the same name, the staff member will be added in Zoho Bookings. After name, the next thing it asks us is the email address. So we will use the same process of mapping once again. Click on this field and from the drop down, select the response of email and it will be mapped. After mapping the email address, the next thing it asks us is the gender. That what is the gender of the new staff which we are adding. So here in the drop down, you can see 2 different options of male and female. And here in our Google form as well, we have asked for the gender of the new staff while taking the details of this staff. So what we want to do, we want to add the gender which we are receiving from Google Form responses over here in this field of gender. So to do that, what we can do, we can just turn on this mapping button in front of it. We'll just turn it on and we are going to clear the default response. After clearing the default response, here in the drop down, we will map the response of gender over here. For example, from Google Form responses, we are going to map the response of gender. In this way, whatever gender the user is going to enter while making the form submission, the same gender will be added for that user as a staff in Zoho Bookings as well. Then it is asking us for the role. So we have also given a field of role over here in Google Forms. So what we want to do, we want to use the same process of mapping once again. Turn on the mapping button and here from the drop down, just clear the default response. And from the Google Form responses, just select the response of role and map it over here. Then it is asking us for the date of birth. So we haven't taken the date of birth of the staff in this Google form. If you want, you can add another field in the form asking for the date of birth and map the same response of date of birth as well. Then it is asking us for the phone number. So from the Google form responses, map the response of phone number over here. Then it is also asking us for the designation. So here guys, what we have to do, once again, we'll map the designation entered by the user. And then at last, it is asking us for the service ID. Now here you must be thinking, what is this service ID? So service ID is basically the booking or the event for which we are taking the bookings. Like what are the services we are offering in Zoho Bookings and for which particular service we want to add this staff. Now here guys, for example, I have this only one service in my Zoho Booking account, that is product demo. Now I want to add this staff in this particular service. So what I have to do, I have to enter the service ID of this particular service over here in this Pabbly Connect field. Now to get the service ID, so the help text says, obtain the service ID from the action list service. So here guys, in this previous step, like before this step, you can use another action event of Zoho Bookings, that is list service. And using this action event, you can get a list of all the services and service IDs which you have created in your Zoho Booking account. Also what you can do, if you want to add all of the staff into the same service, like for example, using this automation, I want to add all the staffs, all the users who are making this form submission into only one service named as product demo in my Zoho Bookings account. So what we can do, we can just open this service option over here, and then from the URL section, here you can see the service ID of this particular service from Zoho Booking. So what we can do, we can just copy the service ID from this URL field as well, and then paste it over here. So either you can use the list service action event in the previous step and get the service ID for your desired Zoho Booking service in which you want to add this staff member. Or if you want to add all of these staff members into the same service using this automation, then in that case, you can just copy the service ID from this previous step and then paste it over here. And into the same service, this staff member, this user who is submitting the form, will be added as the staff over here. After service ID, it is asking us for the additional info. So if you want to add some additional details for the new staff which we are creating, you can enter that detail over here in this field. Right now, this field is not mandatory, it's not required. So we can ignore this field for now as well. And after this, just click on Save and Send Test Request. Now guys, when we click on Save and Send Test Request, here we will see we are going to receive some response from Zoho Bookings. And yes, the response is received. And this response seems to be a positive response to us. This response shows that the detail which we have mapped over here, basically the responses which we have received from Google Forms, using the same responses with the same details, we have successfully added this user as a staff in Zoho Bookings. So let's check it. We will go to a Zoho Bookings account and I'll just go to the staff section over here and refresh this page. And yes, here you can see that demo user, the same person whose details we have entered in our Google Form submission, the same person is now added in our Zoho Bookings account as a new staff. Here you can see the same name, same email address, same mobile number. You can see the same role of manager and designation of manager as well. Here you can see the date of birth, but we haven't added the date of birth. We haven't asked for the date of birth from form submission. That's why this field is blank. And the gender is male. This means guys, the automation workflow which we have created in this video, this automation is working perfectly fine. And using this automation, whenever a user is going to enter their details in this Google form and make the form submission, with the same details, we are going to add that user as a staff member in our Zoho Bookings account. Now here guys, after setting up this automation, let's test this automation workflow once. Once again, we are going to make another test submission in this Google form. For example, this time the name of the person is test user. This is the email address. And this is the mobile number. The designation is, for example, developer. And the gender is male. The role is, for example, staff. And click on submit. So just now we made another form submission in our Google form. And we will see as we make this form submission, the user whose details we have just now entered will be added as a staff in Zoho Bookings. So we'll go to Zoho Bookings and refresh this staff's page once. And yes, here you can see that test user, the same person whose details we have added, just now the same person has been added as a staff over here. The name of the person is test user. You can see the same email address and mobile number. Also, you can see the role of this person is staff, the same role which we have selected in form submission, and the designation is developer. The gender is male over here. So we have tested this automation in real time and this automation is working perfectly fine. So not just these applications, you can connect plenty of other applications with Pabbly Connect. And guys, one more important thing. You will find the clone link of this exact same workflow in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can actually clone this same workflow into your own Pabbly Connect account and use this automation workflow for free. Also, let me tell you, Pabbly Connect offers you a free plan. And in this plan, you will get some free tasks every month into your own Pabbly Connect account. So if you want to try and test this automation, you can do it for absolutely free.
If you have any kind of doubts or queries, you can post them on forum.pabbly.com. So if this video was helpful to you, you can obviously like this video, comment down your suggestion, and don't forget to share it with others. So guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you. Have a great day.